So everybody, look, it's been a few weeks since we've obviously uploaded anything for specific reasons. There's no point in getting into it, but we're back now to come back with some more random news and facts.
What is the last thing we're going to talk about, Warren?
I don't know. I don't know if it's something that's, happening in the world today that happened in the last few days. I don't know if it's happening. I don't know. I don't know if people realize.
Champions of England, ladies and gentlemen.
Champions
the
of
Red
Europe.
Army, Klopp's army, the Scousers are the new champions of England.
4 trophies, bro. 2 years. Mm-hmm. Well, 1 year. Technically 1 season.
Mm-hmm. And it's the first time ever for all you fact lovers, especially fact lovers with regard to sport, it's the first time ever a club has become the European champions, the World Club champions, and the champions of England in the same period or in the same year, I think it is. Yes.
Yeah, the Super Cup, World Cup, Champions League, and Premier League.
Mm-hmm. But it's mainly the World Cup, the European Cup, and the Premier League. But the Super Cup's pretty dope too.
Yeah, of course it is, because we got it. Otherwise,
so it moves Liverpool above United in all-time leaders in terms of trophies by 1, so 43 to 42 again, reclaiming the pedestal. Obviously, still 1 behind Manchester United when it comes to Premier League titles or league titles, 20 to 19. But something tells me that this guy's army is going to keep going for the next couple of years.
Funny thing you say that is because for it's been 30 years, I'm 30, so 30 years, that the other club's fans have been saying, it doesn't matter about the history, it's the Premier League. Now you say, well, technically you haven't won a trophy in the Premier League. And then I guess we have no. Premier League came out in 2016. It was the Barclays English Premier League. So in fairness, you have 0 as United fans. Liverpool have 1.
That's a valid point. I didn't look into that. Yeah. That is great. This is what the kind of research I expect from a researcher. This is if you were doing the research on the spiders, I'd
find all of them. I'd find all of them and put them on Mars.
Man.
But
yeah, no, that's a valid point. Yeah.
So in essence, Liverpool again have more Premier League trophies than United. But if you say to United fans, they're like, no. So that's what we've been saying for the last 30 years, so obviously not us 30, but at least 20 years, saying it's the same title. It's just a different named league.
Yeah. But let's comment on the other thing that's got me chuckling over here is that they are saying Liverpool fans are unbearable, and they're saying that Liverpool fans are gloating. But the irony is that it's been a 30-year wait. If people aren't going to get excited about what you want us to be humble about our team not being happy and just go, oh yes, well done, Klopp and the rest of our players. You guys did great. Yes, guys, we are the champions. Thank you. You guys did great. No, that's not how we're going to celebrate.
No. It's that's like if you think about it, what have they said for the last, but even last year especially, when it looked like we were going to win both champions and league. And then that stuff up happened by the 1 point. What did they all say? I guess next year's your year. All that shit. Meanwhile, everyone... Hey? And now this is our year. So my point is there. And now they're complaining. But not complaining. They're complaining about that. But look at the difference. When Liverpool ended... What did Liverpool end one season? Like 8th or something? 9th? Before Klopp came?
Yeah,
something like that?
8th. I think it was 8th.
It was like a terrible season.
Yeah.
And what did United fans say? Or not just United fans, okay? We're bashing on them because it's always United fans, but any other club basically that didn't like Liverpool, because they would always say, look how bad you are, look where you are, yada, yada, yada. You're not at this level, you're not at that level. Yeah. Now that it's switched and you've got teams like United, like Arsenal, who are more than 40 points behind. Is it 40 points? Yeah, it's 40 points. 40 points behind.
I don't pay attention to anyone behind
my point
Liverpool,
is, now we're not allowed to say anything. Because
okay, but here's the one aspect I want to talk about is that they've won this thing after 30-year wait during this pandemic, and I think this is the consolation prize for those fans that you're talking about who aren't too happy about this scenario. But the thing is this: we have it, right? And we are celebrating like we have it. I mean, I did a solo dance at home. Is it the same as being in the stadium? Is it the same with doing it with all the people? No, it's not. Which means what? When and if they challenge again for next season, which a lot of people are expecting them to do, as you would, being 25 or 26 points ahead, we get to celebrate like we've done it for the first time again properly.
Yeah. And in essence, it would be, because it'd be the first time you're celebrating it in the stadium. So it would be a first-time
Exactly.
championship regardless. So yeah, no, it's me. I'm happy, bro. I mean, it's okay. People can be upset. I don't mind. They can be mad. Can be mad. I got messages from Man United fans. It's like quite funny. They said, "Congratulations, you dick!" like I won. Like I won the trophy. Like,
Yeah, no. Shame. I didn't. I only got called by one Man United fan. He was actually a good oak. He called me saying happy birthday, and then I had to stop him right there, saying, "No, this is nothing like a birthday because this hasn't come every year, so
yeah,
it's far better."
yeah,
So it's far better. So, but thank you very much for the phone call. So that was quite cool. I enjoyed that. Yeah.
yeah. No,
But if we got to dig deeper into the footballing aspect of this thing,
mhm.
and we see what Klopp has done over the last couple of years, and some interesting facts we got to talk about
It's 4 years, eh?
is that, yeah, well, it's 4.5 years, so to speak. He took over halfway of Brendan Rodgers' season before he got sacked. But the thing is this: the man has put together a squad that feels like a family. And even after they celebrated and they were dancing, he was dancing with his players. And I kept
Mhm.
thinking to myself when I saw this image, I was just thinking, would Sir Alex Ferguson have done the same thing? And the answer to that question is you wouldn't be dancing like that because number one, you'd probably break a hip. And number two, there was a clear distinction between who was the boss and who the players were.
Yeah.
I think
Uh,
Klopp blurring that line is
yeah.
the strength that he has, the humility he carries with his team, and the fact that he makes every player feel valued, and not even the player, every fan that
Mhm.
hasn't even met the guy. I mean, I feel
Yeah.
like I feel like I know this guy
Yeah.
because of how he carries himself.
I think with the Ferguson thing, it's also, I would say, a different era in the essence of that whole. He's also obviously, I almost said British. He's not British, but that kind of line of the UK English vibe of uh, your hierarchy of prim and proper. Always wear a suit type thing, speak a certain way, be a certain way, and I think that's where the Ferguson comes from. Not saying it's wrong. That's just how he functions. But you're right. No, I don't. I wouldn't see him running, jumping off a bus type thing. Klopp made everyone united by one. You wanted to be there for your colleague, your teammate, or your physician or whatever. You were all together in the run together. So I can say it from experience in terms of playing soccer a while back was when we did win our leagues. It was a clear difference between the years we won and we didn't win, and that was simple. Were we playing as a team, like a family team? Were we always together, talking shit, having fun, going out, partying, and laughing, and even in losses, we didn't take it seriously, or were we just going to the field, kicking the ball because we had to? And I think that's what he's done with Liverpool. Is that it's no more, as much as it is a job, that's a career in a sense, if you know what I mean. And they enjoy it, and they have the camaraderie there. And he makes them feel wanted, and makes them feel special in a sense, and makes everyone understand that. Let's say you can only sprint 100 meters in 12 seconds. That's fine. That's your best. Give me your best, and I'll be happy with you. And that's kind of what everyone got. And because of that, he's getting that extra 20% out of everyone, which is maybe that 12 seconds is now 11 seconds, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And that's what
And
he's building.
and and another thing to add to that is that if you had to compare the two, when United were winning in the early 90s and when you take Klopp winning now, it's very hard for United fans and all the other fans to dislike this manager, which makes it even
Yeah.
harder for them to swallow
Yeah.
because he's such a likable guy. And I think that's the thing that's just so beautiful is that if you had told me years ago to say, listen, Liverpool aren't going to win the league for 30 years,
Mhm.
but when they do win the league, the right guy is going to be in charge and it's going to be so worth it. I probably would have waited. I would have agreed. I would have been like, it would have been hard for me to agree. But if you said be patient and wait, I probably would have. Because think of the same thing. Think if it was Brendan Rodgers to deliver the first league title or Rafa Benitez, would it be the same? And you know the answer to that.
That wouldn't be look. It's simple. If Brendan, I just looked right into the lamp. My eyes. Um, if Brendan Rodgers had won the league, um, he wouldn't have rocked up anyway. Simple as that. They would have won a title. They probably wouldn't have won it the next year. And then
100%.
then it would have been that whole up and down system. But they would have had the bragging rights of being able to say we won the league anyway.
Yeah.
Uh, he's now signed on what till 2024, I think. And based on what it looks like, the way he structured everything with the academy, with everything, he's designing or putting together. Obviously, it's a lot of people involved. He's
It's
just
the
the
team,
focal
yeah. It's
point.
the
Yeah,
team, and I think he's the first one to admit that as well. He's the
yeah,
face, and he's got a great team that he's
yeah,
working with, from the chairman to the sporting director, who Michael Edwards, and to all
yeah.
the other
To the
coaches. So
nurses, to
this is why
whatever.
it's working. This is why it's working. The club's working. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's designed. It's being put together and designed to last long, in a sense, like a United was, which was they were, if not winning, challenging every year and being the benchmark, like we were saying with Undertaker in the previous conversation. And that's kind of what he's doing now with the whole team and the behind the scenes. They're creating a legacy in a sense, like the 80s, 70s, and 80s now, where you can foresee these teams, because all these players, apart from a couple of them, have a good 4, 5, 6 years in them, you know, of at least high end, high level caliber football. And that's kind of seems like what he's doing. So you could see in what by 2024 they could clinch another 2 titles. If
Yeah,
they,
and furthermore,
yeah,
is those players are coming to their peak together.
yeah.
You're not in isolation bringing players on their peak and forcing them to play together. No, they're doing it collectively,
All I
which
heard was
means
Manchester City. Sorry, what? Yeah,
yeah, but I mean, and interesting fact about whether or not Liverpool fans are worried as to whether or not they're going to recruit new players for the next season, and I think where you can be confident as to the direction, apart from all the signings they've done previously and where we're at now at this point, is that they did well in the Champions League. They competed for the league last season. They followed that up with becoming league champions. Okay, and now you've got to take into consideration, sure, where they put them up. My battery's going to die. Where they put where they focusing their attention is retaining the squad. And if you look statistically, there's no guarantee in the correlation between the amount of money you spend on a player, bringing him into the club, and guaranteeing your success. There is a correlation, however, in terms of the amount of wages you pay per player and league success. So I mean, this is obvious when you look on paper. The teams that have the highest wages are the players that tend to be performing the best because they're getting paid the best. So those are the teams that go on to kick on and win the leagues. And if you look at Liverpool right now, in terms of wage bills, they're second to Real Madrid in the world right now. So they are forking out a lot of money when it comes to wages, and they're taking care of their best players. Mm-hmm. So if you are worried about whether or not Liverpool are going to sign players, don't be, because these players are going to continue putting their hearts on the line, and they're going to play and give everything for this guy, because that's what he does.
And most of them have already said they have no plans in leaving at all. Yes, that can change. People can talk shit, but from the way they seem, I mean, I saw pictures today on Twitter of them training, and it literally says they're all smiles in the training ground. And you literally see them, they're doing probably some of the worst cuck that you do in soccer, which is those bloody sprint drills, which I hated. And they are loving the sprints. So you can see that's
only because you blew a knee every time you ran.
No. That was a tux. I blew one knee and it ruined everything. But no, they're not planning on leaving. Even Milner, dude. Milner's going to win his second title.
Yeah.
And there's no plans. He's not planning on leaving, at least not within the next season. And doesn't look like they want to get rid of him either, at least not yet. I did actually see a little clip of Shaqiri drunk, happy, walking to a training ground. And everyone I saw some of the comments, whoa, he's still alive?
I'm surprised he's drunk and the alcohol's not sitting in his carbs.
So, well, maybe that's why he couldn't walk straight.
He was wobbling because the carbs were feeding it. Yeah, man. But if Liverpool, Warren, in your opinion, where would Liverpool need to strengthen if you have to say, cool, they really do need to go out and get someone? Or
one defender and a mid. Purely just because as much as Milner can be everywhere, he's obviously getting on in age, and he's old school English, so he'll most likely get a yellow to a red often. So you can't.
Okay, but can I just say this though? I'm going to interrupt you. I do think Milner has like another 2-3 seasons in him. Whether that's with Liverpool, that's irrelevant. When I met Milner, we had this conversation. Firstly, most professional player I've worked with. Secondly, when I met him, he said he had never touched a drop of alcohol, and that was already like 5 years ago. And when he keeps doing, everyone knows this, when he comes back to preseason, they do the fitness tests, he is always the fittest player. And it comes down to that point of when you're talking about Kevin Hart and Dwayne The Rock Johnson, be the hardest worker. That's what James Milner is. And there's always need. In a Klopp system, there's always need for a versatile player. And
No,
that's
100%.
exactly what James Milner is.
I don't dispute it. I'm just going based on age, and no matter what you do, age is a factor regardless. He might be fit, but he will never be as fast or whatever. It's just normal. I'm not bashing.
But
on
also
that.
from a business sense, age becomes a deterring factor because what happens is the older the player becomes, the more you have to pay them. The more you have to pay them and the less you're going to get on selling value. So you're really actually losing out from that perspective, which is why the whole transfer policy changed as to recruiting younger players.
Yeah. So I think, and I'll say, how old's Henderson?
He's our age.
30.
So
I was going to say 29. So 30. So he's also got a few years left. So that's what I was saying. One of the defenders, because like Lovren had to come in.
He's 30 this year. He's 30 this year. He's 20. So, he's still 29.
Yeah, so I'd say someone to potentially at some point come in to kind of fill that gap in a sense, because Fabinho doesn't really sit where Henderson sits. So you'll need someone to come in that gap. And then a defender. I just think where Lovren has to come in every so often. Now, Lovren has his moments. He's the David Luiz of Liverpool.
Yeah.
But
no, come on, he's better than David Luiz. Like, I'm gonna say this. You know why he's better than David Luiz? It's because he's also Mohamed Salah's best friend, and that is priceless. That is a huge. We've got Klopp, but we know Salah is putting those goals in there because Lovren is motivating the guy. Yeah, no, look, Lovren.
It's fine. I'm saying Lovren's is one. And the unfortunate part of Lovren is you never know what's going to happen. That's the only thing. He's obviously really good at soccer because he's at the highest level, but he's one of those where you just don't know if he's going to do something and it's going to backfire. So someone like a Van Dijk, you can kind of 95% of the time rely on. Robertson, Arnold, Matip, and a Gomez, you can rely on them 95% of the time. So maybe someone extra, not to replace Lovren, but as a backup, and that's all.
Yeah, no. Look, I think if Corona, if the pandemic, here's the thing, if the pandemic didn't hit right now, I think Liverpool would be selling at least 4 or 5 players, and they'd be trying to bring in that revenue and then try and reinvest it into other players, like the Timo Werner, who was meant allegedly to come to Liverpool, and we had to scrap that deal because that just didn't make sense right now in this time, which I completely agree. We're not going to argue with that. But so you would be looking at a fringe player like a Lovren, so to speak, and you'd be looking at other players too. But now in this sort of scenario where we can't exactly offload and get the value we want for these particular players, for example, selling Lovren, they would want, I think it was AC Milan just before the start of the season, and they were talking about 20 to 30 million pounds, which is a lot for Lovren, but that's how much they were talking about. Now you'd have to say, if he had to leave the club, you're now looking at a third of that price. So,
but would he not be more because he's now won a title?
No, I don't think it works like that with the French player. I don't think it works like that
with the French
player. I do think though. Yeah, I mean, being the Salah motivator, like if it was a 2-for-1, then definitely. But I think the other positives you got to look at when you're looking at Liverpool right now is you have the younger players, exactly, that are coming through, but they're not just coming through now. They've won. They are with a squad that have won the league. So that confidence will be rubbed off on them, and not just the confidence knowing, hey, I can show up and I can play, but that belief knowing that we are champions before we've kicked the ball. There's a huge psychological difference between being able to know you can compete and knowing you're the best.
They're being pulled along with a legacy. That's the thing. So they're not trying to find their way. They are part of the path, and all they have to do is once the other players stop their part, they just continue the mark. And whether he's going to stay for 17 years like Ferguson or not is another thing. But I think it's good. I'm assuming by 2024, if that's when he decides to officially leave and not renew anything, I'm assuming probably Liverpool, besides FA Cup, something like that, like this. I don't want to say small cup, but the other cups, like the FA Cups and the whatever, probably will come and go. But I'm assuming another Champions and maybe 2 more leagues by the time.
No, that'd be dope. And I think the thing I'm most excited for, as we're going to wrap this conversation up, is that by the time the league starts for next season, Liverpool, or Anfield rather, is already a fortress. And now knowing, the fans knowing, the players knowing, Klopp knowing, all knowing that we are the new champions, I think any team coming into that stadium is going to shit in their pants.
Champions without being defeated at home.
Exactly. I'm going to end off by saying he's our number 4. He's our center half. He'll pass the ball. Come as you like. He's Virgil van Dijk. He's Virgil van Dijk.